An animator by the name of Joel G just dropped a video game called ENA Dream BBQ. But the thing about this series is that it's completely all over the place.
Anime, cartoon, conspiracy, money.
And then if you're new to the series of ENA just like I was, then you probably wouldn't know that there are two separate series and two different ENAs. The one in blue and yellow is the one inside of the animated series, while the one most prominent through the game is red and white. Before I flesh out the major plot of both the animated series and the game, make sure you follow here and everywhere, and of course share this with a friend. The yellow and blue ENA from the animated series happens to be a little different from the one from the video game. For one, this one does not wear a hat, whereas the one from the video game does. While each animated short kind of tells the story of someone who is in fact trapped in a digital world, but instead of actively trying to find a way out, they are trying to basically make themselves whole, which is why in one of the last episodes you find this mask which is attached to their face. This mask helps them to give them joy. But something that's important that happens within this last episode is that ENA stumbles her way into some sort of play. While she tries to understand the joy of what brings these people happiness in the first place, either being in the play or watching the play, she just doesn't understand it. ENA's lack of understanding in this last episode is so problematic that the master of the show basically reveals to us that ENA's been here a lot of times. So many times that he actually erases the memory of this place even existing, just because she can't understand what is going on here. Now, whether that's ENA's fault or the fact that she's not whole is another question entirely. But ENA finding out that she could do something like make a wish in one episode, look for her friend Mooney in another one, or even understanding the joy of a play is all intrinsically tied to the yellow and blue ENA. Now, if you haven't followed me yet here or anywhere, make sure you do, because the thing is, the red and white ENA is way different. This ENA seems to be more mature and way more hot-headed. While they do share like the bipolar tendencies between the two, this ENA is in fact trying to find a way out. This ENA used to be the boss of whatever dreamscape this is. This ENA is also the anthology entity. But one thing is for sure is that this ENA is in fact trying to find a way out. But they happen to have to do odd jobs for other people within this dreamscape in order to figure it all out. And that's also where we get the introduction of the new concepts, which are genies and doors. Now, then a door looks more like a dream catcher that takes you to another place. And these doors are alive and also maintained by some other genie. Treat the genies nice, you get to go through the door. Pretty simple. But for some reason, not only can this ENA not say genie, they're looking for a specific genie that happens to be shaped like a porta potty, and she hopes to make a wish, which is most likely to get out of there. But there's actually something dark about all of these mannequins that we see. And I believe that this also kind of links to the animated series as well. Because at the end of chapter 1 of Dream BBQ, we also learn that she is these mannequins. And they're sprawled throughout all of the dreamscape. Like almost everywhere that we've seen, we might have seen a mannequin sprawled not only in the animated series, but also within the video game. So it's very possible that these are all different iterations of ENAs, somehow the same person, but also all different, which could explain the different attitudes that we get between the two. But the reason why there's so many mannequins inside of ENA Dream BBQ is because of something random that the shaman says. Now then, if you haven't watched the gameplay that's on my channel right now, you probably should. But the wizard, also known as the shaman within the game, is somebody that we meet pretty early on. And when we meet him, he just speaks a whole lot of wizardly nothings that seemingly mean nothing except for this one thing. This seemingly random but also very important piece of information that he says is when he's talking about how a person can be in two places at the same time. But it's what he says and how he says. But to quote it directly, it says, one person can be at two places at once. Although the magician doesn't have to be at two places at once. It can be in one place at one time. This is where ENA chimes in and also says the same thing, because he would be lost in the other person's mind. And if you look at what he did to the other version himself, he turned that into a polygonic form, which happens to resemble half of ENA's form. But the crazy thing is when you finish the shaman's request, he attempts to create life out of nothing, to which he creates multiple copies of himself, dropping them into a pink pool of water, until of course the house explodes. But I hear you wondering, what does this have to do with ENA directly? Well, for some reason in this world, ENAs are unforgivable. And I believe the reason for that is because they're actually body snatchers, i.e. a person from the real world who happens to take a form of one of these mannequins. But as it turns out, these mannequins are actually real people who have their own will, aspirations, and minds. When that ENA takes that form, they get trapped in that other person's mind. And to further this point that ENA is basically a body snatcher, when the wizard dumps all of his other copies inside of this ocean pool, that's the same thing as all of these mannequins and any other ENAs that you see floating inside of this cold ocean. But is that a coincidence? I think not. And if you like videos like these, make sure you save this for later. Follow me here and everywhere, and of course I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.
And that's why I'm passing my crown over to you.
Wait, you you could just pass these things down?
Well, yeah.
That doesn't make much sense. These all-powerful dark helmets can be passed down to anyone.